Hi guys, it's Miss Sarah. I lead the Adult Craft Day, which is usually the first Saturday of each month. It's called Make and Take. So unfortunately we couldn't have that this month, so I thought it would be fun to do a little video for you guys on a fun craft you can do at home. It's a pretty easy craft, so you can do it with your kids if you want. I found that most kids over the age of 8 or so can do this independently. If they're younger, they might need a little bit of help. So the first thing you need to do is make your loom. We're going to make these cute little rug coasters, okay? And we're going to weave them by making this loom. So I just got an old box and I cut a piece that's about 5 by 7 inches. And then I took my measuring tape right here, and what I did is it has a centimeter side. So I laid that down against the side of the box and I measured every half centimeter. So I took my pen and I measured every half centimeter all the way along the box on both sides, okay? And then I measured 1.5 inches up from the bottom and drew a line here, and then 1.5 inches from the top and drew a line. So these two lines are the guides that we're going to use to create the midsection of our project. So what we're going to do is take our scissors and you're going to cut on each of those little lines that are 1/2 centimeter apart, all the way across on both ends, so you have these little flaps. Okay, so this is going to be your loom. So what you're going to do, get these out of the way. We'll need a little bit of tape, so make sure you have some tape with you. I have my pieces cut over here, all ready to go. So if you did the loom project, the Colors of Cancer weaving project that we had at the library recently, some of this might be familiar to you. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the weft on here. All right, so that's going to be the strings that are going up and down our loom that we're going to weave through. So we start on the back side. Okay, and we take one of our little pieces of tape and we tape it on, okay? So what we're gonna do, if my tape stays on, there we go, is wrap it around in each of these little slots. So I'm gonna take it through this first slot and bring it down to the first slot on the bottom, then bring it up the back side and then down. Okay, so I'm just going to keep doing that all the way around. Okay, we got to hit every single cut that you made. Okay, so we just keep wrapping all the way across our box. So it will end up looking similar to this, okay? So you'll have them all the way across the top. This is what the back side will look like. The front side will look similar, but you'll have your two ends taped here. So once you get to the very end, you just snip off your white yarn and then tape it on the back, and then you're ready to start weaving. So this is one that my daughter had started. She hasn't finished it yet. She has a couple more rows to go, so I wanted to show it to you. So what we're going to do is you're going to start your weaving at the bottom, okay? And then you're going to weave back and forth. So if you have one of these tapestry needles, that would be helpful. If you don't, you can do it by hand. That would be fine. So each of my stripes that I've done here took 2 yards of yarn, okay? So for one approximately this size, let's see, we'll measure it here. So it's about a 4x4 size coaster. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stripes. They were 2 yards a piece, so that's 12 yards total. So you can do any colors that you'd like. You can do stripes, you can do solid colors, you can use a variegated yarn, so it changes color as you go through, whatever you like to do. So if you have your tapestry needle, I cut mine 2 yards a piece, so each of my stripes would be the same size. So I'm going to go ahead and load up my needle here. There we go. So what you want to do is you want to start from the side, and you're going to be going over and under, over and under. It's a pattern. So since she's already started, this last one she did, she came out underneath it. So I'm going to go over it and then under the second one. And then over and under, all the way across the board. If you don't have a long needle, you might have to do it halfway and then finish. Just make sure that you continue with your pattern. So let's see, I came out, so I need to go under this one, over, under, over. Like that. And then if you're starting, you'll want to pull it through so you have about 6 inches hanging off, about like that, so we can finish the ends once we're done. Okay. Oh, and I forgot my fork. You'll need a little fork because what you're going to do is use that fork to beat down your yarn.
I need to go get one.
Yes, if you get me a fork, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Big or little?
Doesn't matter. So then when you come back through, you need to make sure that you do the opposite. Thank you very much. So if you ended coming from underneath, you need to go over and then under the second one. So make sure you're doing the opposite to get your weaving pattern. Under, over, under, over, under, over. Let's see, under, over, under, over. There we go. Oops, stuck on that last one. There we go. Okay, so when you're turning like this, you want to make sure that you leave a little slack here and kind of do it in a little arch like this. See how this one is kind of going in an arch? That gives you plenty of slack so it doesn't pinch it in. So then you'll take your fork and you'll start down here and then you'll just push it down with your fork. And that pushes it nice and tight. As you're starting this first row, you might need to push up from the bottom just a little bit, just to make sure that it stays nice and tight until you get several rows done. And then once you get a few done, then it stays pretty well. So then you just kind of keep weaving back and forth, until you get through your color. You want to try to end on the same side, like most of mine are ending over here. We'll want to do that so we can tie off the ends and finish it once we're all done weaving. So we just want to make sure that we weave up to this line that we drew at the 1.5 inch mark up here. So we're going to weave until about right here, if you can see that. Okay. So you'll just keep going until you get to that spot there, and I will meet you back at that point to do the next step.
It's going.
Hey guys, we're back. So I finished up to the top of my loom where I drew the line. So I have my rectangle here in the middle, so I'm going to show you how to finish it off. Okay, so we should have 2 starting threads. So the one at the bottom and then the one at the top. So we want to tie those off before we take it off the loom, otherwise it might come undone. So you're just going to tie it around this first string here that it's coming out from underneath. We're just going to knot it over that and tie it in a knot twice. So you just lift up the string, make a loop, bring the end through the end of your loop, and pull it tight, just like that. Ta-da! And then that will be fine. And then we're going to do it to the loose end at the very end. So we did the one from the beginning, and now we're doing the one at the end. So we're going to do the same thing where we pull the string up, pull it through, we have our loop, send it through the loop, and pull tight to knot it. Okay, so now that that's all secure, we can use our fork to make sure that everything is beaten down into place properly, so it looks nice and tight across here, if you can see that. All right, so on our back side, what we're going to do is we're just going to, where our tape is, we're going to kind of peel that up a little bit, and we're just going to cut right across there. So I got my scissors. So I'm just going to cut all of these strings straight across, right through the center. Okay. And then here's my first one that I taped down, so pull that one up. Okay. So now very carefully take it off of your loom. That one's still stuck to the tape. Come here. There we go. Whoop. Okay. Now this end. There we go. All right, so now it's off of our loom. Here we go. So what we want to do, we have the loose ends on the side from where you change the colors. So all you're going to do with those is tie them in a knot. Okay. You can take your tapestry needle and weave them in if you'd like, but mine has like a really big eye, so it's really hard for it to go through the weaving. So I just tie it off and then snip the ends, and it holds just fine. So I tied it, and I'm just gonna give it a little snippity snip there, and then I'm gonna do the same over here with all of the ones on this side. Just gonna tie a couple knots, and then we'll snip them all. So this is a really easy craft, like I said at the beginning of the video. You can do it with your whole family, and it's a fun craft that is practical and fun at the same time. And if you have, a stash of yarn like I do, I crochet, so I have plenty of yarn, then, it's not anything, expensive. It'll be a cheap little craft for you. And fun. Okay, so here's my last knot. Just snip all of these off carefully. I'm going to do it quickly for the sake of this video, but as close to the knot as you can get them snipped, the better. Okay. Alright, and snip our beginning and ends. Okay, so now we have all of our little white tassels. So what we have to do with those is, if you look, you can see that there's a front and a back. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to tie the front one and the back one together into a knot all the way across on both ends. So we're just going to tie it like that, and then in a knot again. And then that one's done. So then we'll just move to the next. Tie it in a knot. Like this. Okay. So here are my first two. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video again, and I'm going to tie the knots all the way across on both ends. So you want to make sure you do both the top and the bottom, and then I will meet you back here and I'll show you how to finish it off.
It's recording them.
Okay. All right, guys. I went through and I tied all the ends up. So here at this end, I have all of them tied together. So we're just going to finish it off. So you're just going to take your two pieces that are tied together, and then we'll just twist them around and then knot them again. So it has that nice finished look. And you want your knot to be pretty close to your weaving. So it looks like it's coming out of the weaving, so like that. If you can see that pretty well. I'll do a couple more and then we'll pause and I'll finish it up and then show you what it looks like, because we're almost done.
Yay!
So we are close. Alright. So there's a second one for you. So what we're doing is we're finishing it off to look like this right here. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like when it's all done with the finish. So you just need to make sure you go all the way across and getting the first and the second to knot together, and then just do an overhand knot all the way across. And I'm going to finish this one up and I will be right back to show you the finished product. Alright guys, I went ahead and I knotted all the way across the bottom of my coaster. So this is what it looks like now, across the bottom. Now they're a little uneven and they're long, so I'm just going to take my scissors and just decide how long I want them and give them a little trim all the way across, just like that. Alright. So then there we have it. We have our cute little weaved coaster. Practical and fun at the same time. So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this craft. So like the video, give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe and stay healthy.